This is the best trim level of 2025 Ram 1500 you can buy, and we're going to talk about why. So for those of you that didn't see already, this is the Bighorn model. In, say, Ford speak, that would be like an XLT or a LT Chevy or SLE, yeah, SLE GMC, something like that. The Bighorn's going to come with your class seats. This particular one has a manual passenger seat even, and your cloth rear seats. You still have the rear vents back here. This is a little bit more of a basic Bighorn, but we're going to get into why I actually kind of like that. So let's start off with price. That's the obvious big one. Well, they're still not, 20, 30 grand like they used to be. You can have a truck like this for 10, 15, 20, 25, maybe even 30 grand less than you could get one that has all the extra features with the leather and the bells and whistles and everything, right? To me, 10, 15, 20 plus $1,000 is a ton of money. So we're going to dive into some of the things that you're missing when you don't spend that extra money, and why, to me, that's not really a big deal. So before we focus on what this truck doesn't have, let's talk about what it does have. This one has LED headlights. It still has 20-inch wheels. This one's called the Sport Package, so it's color matched. It's a really, really good looking truck. Sorry, I know that's kind of into the sun. Well, let's hop inside here and look at some of the other stuff. You still have all your power folding windows. This one comes with the adaptive cruise control. Comes with lane keep assist. So a lot of that stuff that everybody's really digging on the super, super high-end models, this already has. So while this may be, a lower trim truck, quote unquote, it still has tons of features that we all know and love. Like I say, you even have blind spot. We already went over some of this stuff. But like I say, that's truly incredible for a lower trim vehicle. For a long time, you guys will remember, the manufacturers were always pushing their flagship, the top of the top of the line, which they still are. But there used to be a lot of things that you had to jump up into that upper trim to get, where now we're seeing it on a lot lower trim levels, which is why I think that these are going to be the trim levels that kind of dominate sales over the next, foreseeable future. Who knows exactly how long, but this is the kind of truck that, a lot of people can come down and afford and still have a new truck and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you're looking at spending $70,000, $80,000, obviously, that's a much narrower percentage of people. Those of you familiar with Ram will realize that this one doesn't have the 12-inch screen. Now, to some people, that might be a drawback. To me, that's actually not a super big deal because this still does wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's still a nice screen. All of my main goodies that I'm ever going to mess with are buttons and knobs right down here. That does not bother me one bit. I'm fine with the volume knob. I don't need everything to be digital. I don't need it to be all fancy schmancy all the time. I'm good without it. I'm okay with this setup. And a big part of the reason for these extra features that I mentioned and not being a huge deal to me is the reliability of having less stuff. I work at a dealership, guys. I see a lot of trucks coming in with any number of particular issues. And 9 times out of 10, not 100% of the time, you're always going to have some mechanical issues here and there. But modern day powertrains aren't as big of a concern for me. It's all the extra stuff. It seems like 90-something% of the time. It's a sensor. It's this. It's that. It's self-driving. It's blah, 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 blah. My 12-inch screen is being glitchy. I mean, you guys know what it is. People wanting to get rid of their Fords because their screen's tripping out. The electronics are going haywire. Same thing for all the brands, right? So to me, not having all of those extras all the time isn't so bad. A lot of these trucks are going to like a full self-driving setup, essentially. Ford's got Blue Cruise or whatever. Ram's bringing out a version of that. To me, I mean, it's kind of nice in some scenarios, but I actually like driving my trucks. Besides, I don't need a truck to tell me how to drive. That's what my wife is for. That was a good one. Love you, babe. But all joking aside, really, I think this is the kind of truck that, if you're in the market or you're thinking about getting a truck, you should really take a hard look at something like this. It's still very comfortable. These seats are amazing. Still have the center console, still have Apple CarPlay, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, power folding mirrors, blind spot. What else do you really need? I love this feature backing up to the trailer. You can zoom right in on your ball. It saves you and your wife from arguing over what 4 or 5 inches looks like. And not to mention driving, guys. These new trucks feel absolutely incredible, and that pretty much goes across the board. They all drive a little different. Ford, Chevy, GMC, and Ram, they're a little bit different, so it's up to you which driving style you like more. But overall, they're all incredible. And as most of you know, Ram brought out the Hurricane for the 2025 model year, which, mark my words, once people get out there actually driving them, towing with them, using them for what they're designed for, they are going to catch on and be very popular. Assuming that Ram does a good job with the price points. Save it, I know. I'm talking about coming up this year. If they come out with incentives, they get these trucks down and dirty. When people start actually driving and using not only the standard output, but especially the high output, it is going to take off like you wouldn't believe. This truck's still really new and doesn't have many miles, so I'm not going to step on it too hard, but I'll give you just a little inkling. Believe me, these motors have plenty of power. So that's why I think for 2025, the Bighorn model is really the move, because you get a lot of features for the money comparing it to the higher trim models. You know, if you're just that guy, you gotta have leather and some of those extra goodies, then obviously it is what it is. But if you just want a good truck at a reasonably lower price point and you don't care to have some of those extra features, which, like I said, those are what's really causing most of the reliability concerns, this is the way to go. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Drop a comment, leave a like, let me know why I'm right, wrong, why Ram's terrible or great or Ford's amazing. Just kidding, we all know that's not true. But for real, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like, subscribe if you don't mind, and we'll see you next time.